With Rambo Last Blood out in theaters, there are now 5 Rambo films. So today we're going to be ranking these movies from worst to best. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about each of these Rambo movies and how you would rank them. Let me know in the comment section down below. I enjoyed the Rambo series. It is a blast. They're over the top. It's just what you expect from a Sylvester Stallone action film. They're great. They're enjoyable films, but there is a large gap between most of these movies from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5, and that allows for Sylvester Stallone to get very old. So he's still out there making these Rambo films, and I'm still ready to see them. So let's get this list started. Coming in at number 5, the worst film is Rambo Last Blood. This is the most recent Rambo film, and I thought this movie started off very slowly. The first and second act, I really did not care about. It felt very cliche, felt like a typical Lionsgate action film, but I wanted to see Rambo out there killing people, and we got that in the third act. It's very brutal towards the end of the film, and it's over the top. It's what you would expect from a Rambo film, but just a little more older, and it's almost like a older version of Home Alone. He's setting up all these traps. They're very elaborate and really well thought out, and those are fun moments as well. But my issue with this film is that it drags for like the first and second act, and it doesn't really get interesting until the film's almost over. Where the previous Rambo films, they waited a little bit to get into the action, but not like this one. This one took its time. It tried to have a story. And there also was a character, a journalist, who I didn't think fit into the story very well. Her scenes just felt out of place. But overall with the Rambo 5, I wanted a little more action. The action I did get was enjoyable, and it's worth to see the movie just for those scenes. Coming at number 4 is Rambo Part 3. This is probably the biggest Rambo movie in terms of action. It is just crazy out there, so much action going on. This is the one where Colonel Sam Trotman travels to Thailand hoping to convince John Rambo to accompany him on a training mission in Afghanistan. Rambo refuses, Trotman decides to go alone and gets captured. With so much action scenes in here, I think this one forgot to tell an interesting story. I really enjoyed the story for Rambo 1 and Rambo Part 2, but this one seemed to focus so much on action, and I don't mind that, but I also like the story of Rambo as well. And this one seemed to be a little too comical with his one-liners, but this is a very action-packed film, and for that, it is an enjoyable movie. Coming in at number 3 is Rambo. This is the film that was released, I think, 2008. This movie is where Rambo is living his peaceful life, and people approach him to take him upriver and try to save people. They're like on a missionary, and this is easily the most gory, bloodiest Rambo film there is. Arms are flying around, people's body parts are just being torn apart. It is crazy how bloody and almost disturbing this film is at times, but it's an enjoyable film. You could still feel that Rambo is having a hard time with war and being involved. He is the kind of guy that will jump in and save people. He cares about that. But in the back of the mind, it's still there. The war that he was in. I still like that they're continuing his story and seeing him in different parts of his life. Kind of like Rambo Last Blood. It takes a little bit to get going, but I still enjoyed the story. And in 2008, Sylvester Stallone still had it. And really get involved in film action scenes, and it's believable at times. The reason why this film sits at 3 is definitely the action. It's really in there. It's up in your face. And it's almost realistic for the story that they are telling. The Burmese army is very brutal. They're killing a bunch of people. These missionaries want to go and help people. So the violence is realistic for the story that they are telling. And I also like John Rambo's story as well. Coming in at number 2 is First Blood Part 2. This film followed up the first film very nicely. Still really out there crazy action scenes to enjoy. John Rambo is doing hard time in jail when former boss Colonel Troutman offers him a deal. If he travels to Vietnam to try to find the American prisoners of war, his criminal record will be expunged. Rambo takes the assignment, agrees not to get involved with any action. However, when his lover is killed, he forgets everything and takes matters into his own hands. I like that this film continued from the first story, having him in jail, but also seeing him trying to cope with his life. Have a lover, but, things go wrong and he's out there trying to kill everybody, and I just love it. Rambo Part 2 and Rambo Part 1 are some of the coolest action movies of all time. They are just movies that you could turn on and watch them, have a blast with it, watch Rambo just shoot a bunch of people and throw grenades, and it's just a blast. I love the over-the-top action scenes. The production value going into this movie is crazy, and it's just the scope of things is very wide, and you could see all of the big explosions right there. It's so cool to watch. Paired that with a story that I found very interesting, and John Rambo thrown back in there. After what happened in the first film, he is still willing to go there and save people, and that says a lot about John Rambo. And that's why I really like First Blood Part 2. But coming in at number 1 is First Blood. First Blood, I didn't expect to really enjoy this movie so much. It took me a while to actually see this film, but I like how, I don't want to say small this movie is compared to the other Rambo films, but it's not John Rambo being thrown into a big event. It's not people requesting John Rambo's assistance. It's him walking and him trying to meet up with someone that he knew, found out that they're no longer alive, and him just walking to go home, and police stopping him and harassing him, and then it just getting out of hands. I feel like this First Blood film is much smaller compared to other movies, but there is still a lot of action scenes. This story does feel a lot more personal compared to the other 4 Rambo films, and he just wants to be left alone. He just wants to walk and get out of the town. But the cops just keep harassing him, and it just gets out of control. And that triggers memories that he had in war, and him turning on everybody and trying to protect himself. It's a realistic story to tell for someone who dealt with a lot in war and is just returning home. First Blood is more of the emotional, personal story compared to the other movies, but it does not let up on the action towards the end of the film. I really enjoyed First Blood. It's one of my favorite Sylvester Stallone films, and it stands as my favorite Rambo movie. So there you guys have it, all 5 Rambo films ranked worst to best. How would you rank these movies? Let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure to stay tuned for more up and coming videos. My name is JustinWatchesMovies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.